And welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watt2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So, we are heading to the final weekend, plus Monday, of the MLB regular season, and the National League race is insane. Every day something new happens, new possibilities open up, and there seems to be more confusion by the day of what's going to be happening. So I came on here to try to reduce some of that confusion, to try to break down some of the scenarios on what can happen here. So just to go through the standings real quick as far as the wild card goes. The San Diego Padres have clinched a wild card spot. They're 3 games up on both the Mets and the Diamondbacks. Okay, Mets, of course, have played 2 fewer games, but the win percentage is basically identical. Mets 1 game ahead of Arizona in the loss column. Mets have 70 losses. Arizona has 71. The Atlanta Braves are 1 game behind both teams, but they have 71 losses, just like Arizona, but 2 fewer wins. So that's basically how it's working out. So right now, as of today, it would be Mets second wild card, Arizona third wild card, Atlanta out. Now, what do the Mets have to do to clinch here? Well, their magic number is 4 against Arizona. So any combination of 2 Met wins and 2 Diamondback losses, they clinch. And the magic number against the Braves is 5 with 5 games remaining. Now, the Mets are in Milwaukee, and if they are able to sweep the Brewers this weekend, now that is possible. You know, the Mets don't have a very good history at American Family Field or Miller Park. They've actually won only 1 series in that stadium in 10 years, and I can tell you, I have seen a lot of losses at that stadium for sure. But if the Mets do sweep Milwaukee, they clinch a spot unless both Arizona and Atlanta sweep their series as well. Now, if the Mets win 2 games, they will need to win 1 game at the most in Atlanta. 1 at the most. So you win the series, you don't have to sweep the doubleheader. So that is pretty important to keep in mind here. Now, we know the Mets, one thing is true, they cannot be eliminated until Monday rolls around. And so, as far as the rotation goes, the best thing to do is to try to clinch everything as soon as possible, and that's why they're starting Sean Manaea Friday night against Frankie Montas for the Brewers. The expectation is David Peterson on Saturday, Luis Severino on Sunday. Now, only Manaea is confirmed, and the front office, they'll certainly modify the plan over the next coming days as events dictate. But to me, I would stick with Manaea and Peterson, and then what you could do is use Jose Quintana, who has been really good over the last month or so. You could use him on Monday in the doubleheader along with Tyler McGill, and then it's all hands on deck. Now, as far as Milwaukee goes, to talk about what's at stake for them, their 3rd seed is clinched. So they will be hosting they're the division winner with the poorest records, so they will be continuing that streak. So they have the 3rd seed and will be hosting a wild card series. They're not going to be using either Freddie Peralta or Aaron Savali, who are really their 2 best starting pitchers. Frankie Montas will start Friday, as we said. After that, nobody has a clue. Now, as far as Arizona goes, that's sort of the other. Let's look at the other teams the Mets are competing with. Their opponent this weekend is the San Diego Padres, who have that wild card locked in, but San Diego has not locked in home field in the wild card series. They're 3 games up on Arizona as the 2 teams prepare to play this weekend in Phoenix. San Diego needs to win one of those games to guarantee a higher seed, than Arizona. And to secure home field in the first round, they need any combination of 2 wins and Mets losses to secure home field. So their magic number is San Diego's magic number to clinch home field is just 2. So it'd be very unlikely that San Diego finishes anywhere but the 4th seed. And here's the other thing as far as the Atlanta Braves goes. And this didn't go very well at all on Thursday. Kansas City goes to Atlanta this weekend. On Thursday, the Royals beat the Nationals, getting them closer to clinching a wild card spot. And then Minnesota, who's trying to hang in there, who's trying to make a comeback in the wild card race, they lost haplessly to the pathetic Marlins. It was ugly baseball. I watched the last 3 or 4 innings on MLB Network. It was bad base running, bad fielding, bad pitching, undisciplined swinging. Minnesota did everything wrong. They just looked completely defeated. So the Royals hold a 3-game lead along with Detroit for the last 2 wildcard spots over both Minnesota and Seattle for the final wildcard spot in the American League. So they can clinch their spots as soon as Friday. And if that happens, then these last 2 games against Atlanta could potentially be meaningless for them, for Kansas City. Then they're not pitching, their best pitchers like a Seth Lugo, that kind of a pitcher. And that's what we're looking at. So it's a situation where you hope, if you're a Mets fan, Minnesota and Seattle can do pretty well also, because you want Kansas City to have something to play for. And of course, they're pitching Max Fried on Friday against Kansas City. Chris Sale is going to be held out until the Monday doubleheader. So that is what everything looks like right now. There's a whole bunch of scenarios if the Mets win this many games, or versus this versus the other team, versus Arizona, versus Atlanta, who makes it in. There's over 30 scenarios that could happen there, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But the main thing is you want these teams playing Atlanta and Arizona to be engaged. But if the Mets take care of business, you know what? They have an excellent chance. And at the very, very least, you got to win 2 out of 3 against a Milwaukee team that has 0 to play for this weekend. And then who knows? You might find yourself going back to Milwaukee next week for the playoffs. All right, everybody, that's all I've got about this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you right back. Well, I'm not in the wicker chair, but I will see you once I'm back in the wicker chair.